What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. Today, I want to focus in on Chris Versteeg going back to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Jimmy Hayes and Dylan Olsen. I think it's a great move for both sides. Chicago gets a reunion of sorts with Verbeauty, the former Stanley Cup winner, and Versteeg gets out of what has become a bad situation of Florida. And I think there are more moves coming from the Panthers. And for Jimmy Hayes and Dylan Olsen, two prospects that really got stuck in a very, very deep Chicago Blackhawks system, I think it's a fresh start for them. And, Hayes was a black ace last year. I don't know what Olsen. I think Olsen was as well. Both college hockey guys. And, I'm really happy for both of them to get a fresh start. This wasn't going to happen for them in Chicago. I talked about last week with the Adam Clendenning piece. If you're buried in Chicago's system, I mean, it's tough. It's part of coming up in such a great organization that's competing, that won the Cup last year and is going to compete for Cups for many, many years to come. That's, the nature of the beast of, wanting to play in the National Hockey League. And, you got to respect that. And, I'm sure they're grateful for their time in Chicago. But, they're both going to definitely be a big part of the Panthers' rebuilding process. Now on for the Blackhawks. Versteeg, is a pretty versatile forward, can play in the top six or in the bottom six. And, just plays the game hard, plays the game right. He's a fan favorite, not for his rapping abilities. But, he really, I love his game. And I'm happy to see him go back to a situation where he's going to be happy. Not that he wasn't happy in Florida, but I just feel like with the losses piling up, and it just wasn't. The team just doesn't look happy. Obviously, if you're that bad, if you're playing that poorly, you're not going to be happy. But they just don't seem like they enjoy going to the rink every day. And I'm not knocking that team or Kevin Dinier or Horacek, but it just seems like it's become a bad atmosphere in Florida, and for him to be, freed from that back to Chicago, where, they're going to be in the hunt for many years. They've got a great nucleus intact, and I'm sure he's grateful for the opportunity now. Back to Hayes and Olsen. Hayes was originally drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs in the second round. He got flipped to Chicago in 2010. His brother was drafted by the Hawks that same year in the first round. Kevin's a work in progress. Let's leave it at that. And then Olsen was, I think, a first rounder in 2009, and he played for Canada at the World Juniors, which is weird for college play. He left University of Minnesota Duluth halfway through his sophomore year, and I think that rubbed a few people the wrong way because it's tough. But back to the Hawks and the Panthers. This won't be the last deal between the two of them, because you think Talon in Florida, he helped build that Chicago, nucleus, and this is not by a long shot the last deal for the Panthers. There will be more shoes to drop very soon. I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and there are going to be more and more players wheeled out of Florida in the coming weeks. That's all this episode of the Power Play with CJ on the Jimmy Hayes and Dylan Olsen for Verbeauty trade. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the season and beyond. Later, guys.